This video is to address some stuff, but of course it's also to answer some questions that people didn't know they were asking. I should have brought my mouse out here for this. There's a lot of stuff that people keep typing that just shows their ignorance of the situation. Like there's a couple of them I just got in the last few minutes. Some lady named Rachel Baumhoff. Well, 2 days ago, they posted this, the confounding story of Natalie Bollinger. And I wrote, I'm Sean Schwartz. I'm about to listen to your video. I'll send evidence of everything you got wrong if you send me your email address. But this guy, of course, never sent me his email address. It says, view 5 replies. I'm looking at them. This guy calling himself the poor man's poet, he types, hey man, don't let this video... Oh, I hate this thing. Oh, she keeps editing stuff after typing some very rude stuff. So, of course, it's a good thing I take screenshots, isn't it? The poor man's poet 33 typed, hey man, don't let this video and or especially the comments get to you. Well, I have to deal with those comments and the consequences thereof in real life. In real life, people are saying the same things, but they're also putting their hands on me. Every aspect of my life has been destroyed by lies. I'm not even allowed to defend myself against them. Let's see. And I'm sorry I can't actually see the camera. I've got YouTube up over it so I can read. He typed, he might have crossed the line a couple times, but based on other videos I've seen covering this case, I believe you genuinely wanted to help someone you considered a friend that was in danger. I absolutely did not cross the line at any point in time. I did only what was absolutely necessary to save lives. What was absolutely necessary to be heard. What do people remember about me? Out of everything that I say, what do these people push on the heaviest? The fact that I curse and the fact that I yell. There's plenty of videos like this where I'm just speaking. But do they remember these? No, they don't. Why is it that I scream and yell? Because that's what people remember. Shannon Alvarado, like many, I could say something to her 100 times. It wasn't going to make any difference. She didn't hear it. Anyway, I'm going to continue with this. The poor man's poet 33 also typed, keep your head up, brother, and remember that the truth always comes out. Yeah, I'm pushing it. Nobody wants to look. And he typed, and remember that the truth always comes out, even if it's the day that judgment trump sounds and we're all judged by the Almighty. You know what you did and didn't do. Reflect on that and rest easy. God bless you. See, give it to God. Don't do anything about the situation here on earth. Just give it to God. On the day of judgment, that's when we'll do something about these rapists and child molesters and corrupt politicians. And, well, same thing, right? And of course, we've got the law that protects them, but not their victims. I should have had a protection order a long time ago, but instead of getting the help that I needed to do that, I was told I had to jump through a bunch of hoops, get disability, get the developmental disability paperwork done, and a whole bunch of other stuff on top of it. Big pain in the butt. Anyway, I liked that comment. Someone calling themselves the metamorphosis of gypsy type, good job being an empathic human being, to the poor man's poet, which is nice. I typed, I absolutely did not at any point cross the line. I did only what was absolutely necessary to save people's lives. I needed and still need help forcing people to see the evidence instead of just the slander and cherry picking. Someone named Rachel Baumhoff typed, I think harassing a child when you're a grown man is crossing the line. Well, let's address that part right there. She typed more, of course, but she was not a child. She was a grown adult. We were friends in Virginia. After I left Virginia, I was done with them. That was the end of it. That should have been the end of it. I drove 1,700 miles to go see Natalie because she was going to kill herself if I didn't. So I went. When her and her sister went all fucking crazy on a drug-induced whatever, I left. I drove 1,700 miles to get away from them and blocked them. That should have been the end of it. That didn't get to be the end of it. Alright? Now, first of all, I was invited. Second of all, we were friends. My text messages that I posted up on Facebook and YouTube on multiple times. My messages between me and Natalie aren't some horrible thing where I couldn't take no for an answer. In our messages, she says on multiple occasions she thought she was in love with me. Like, come on, people. And harassing a child. No, I wasn't harassing a child. When she was underage, I told her to stay away from me and her sister. And in our messages, from after they were both 18 years of age, in our messages, they were both grateful and thankful that I did that. There's a reason for that. They should not have been there. Absolutely. All these people saying they shouldn't have been there, they shouldn't have been there. Absolutely, I agree. A lot of us agree. Most of us homeless people absolutely 100% agree with that. Natalie should not have been there. Unfortunately, it was actually safer than at home. Because at home, Ted Bollinger had walls that protected people from seeing what he was doing to his daughter. At least people trying to victimize her out in public when she's surrounded by a bunch of friggin' dope heads, well, they'll fuck a motherfucker up. That's the problem with them dope heads. They don't do no thinking for themselves. They'll listen to anything pretty or anything that's got the drugs. She typed to me also, and yes, I'm a grown man, and she's a grown man. Her and her friend should have stopped immediately. When I left Virginia, that should have been the end of it. They should not have harassed me. They should not have threatened me. They shouldn't have assaulted me. They should have left me alone. But no, they couldn't do that. They had to slander my name, resulting in abuse, actual physical abuse against my person, and nobody cared. Nobody even wanted to listen. They just wanted to tell me, let it go, let it go, let it go. How many assaults do I have to let go while these assaults are still going on? While I can't see these people who are claiming to love me, I can't see these people without having to worry about being threatened, harassed, or assaulted again. All of the contact that me and Natalie Bollinger had after I left Virginia was me begging for help to get it to stop. The things that you're taught to do as a child when you are being abused, you're supposed to go to who? Nebraska call. Hello? Hello, I can barely hear you. Who is this?
Hi, my name is John. This call is recorded. I'm trying to get a hold of Charles Hartsfield.
Nobody by that name at this number. I do apologize.
It's okay. I'll make sure to take this number as your own number. Thank you.
Bye. Charles. I don't know. Anyway, she typed, it is a matter of fact, I don't think it is, doing it over and over again when she asked you to leave her alone. First of all, it wasn't an over and over and over again thing. Like Natalie tried pretending that I texted her hundreds of times. No, that absolutely did not happen. Okay? Second of all, It wasn't hundreds of messages to her in Virginia after she asked me to leave, okay? It wasn't anything like that. It was a screwed up situation that did not need to happen. Yes, I was in the road. There was construction. I was stuck there. Our messages do verify that there was construction. That yes, Natalie and Alicia both knew that I was severely dehydrated days before that. It was obvious that I needed medical attention. It was also obvious that the brand new phone that I had gotten that was completely broken, the whole front of it was shattered, and it was doing whatever the hell it wanted. It's pretty obvious that wasn't a choice. It's not like I just did a 360-degree whoo round in circles out of nowhere. No, I was stranded in Chesapeake, Virginia. I went there because Natalie pressured me to go there by trying to kill herself because I wasn't already on the road. Being stuck in the road, yes, I honked my horn. There's a bunch of trees. It's a blind corner on a highway. Yes, I honked my horn. I made sure people knew I was there. I did not want to get careened in the side by a family of 6. Of course I honked my horn. And yes, I was at Natalie's house, or at Natalie's mom's house, to see Natalie, to explain about the phone, because it had been screwing up since I got the thing. It wasn't a choice. And people want to type, well, how did you find out her address? She gave it to me. She's the one who told me if I didn't come to Virginia to see her, she'd kill herself. She gave me her address, or her mom's address. That was in Virginia. All this so-called stalking crap was while we were friends in Virginia. You can see in our messages between her and I that we were friends. When her mom busted her, found her heroin on my birthday, I became the fall guy. Her and her sister were fighting over a boy at the time. Me and Natalie did not get to have our conversation. Alicia was inviting me here and there and everywhere else and saying, hey, Sean, you should go here and you should go there. And Alicia invited me to the house quite frequently. I didn't go because Natalie said that her family wouldn't understand. Anyway, she also types, when she asks you to leave her alone and you continuously keep at it, just not okay in any way. What did my messages to her say? They said, I am being abused. Please call off the dogs. Not, hey, I'm in love with you. If you won't let me touch your vagina, I'm going to blow my head off. Don't be insane. You guys are insane. Even after it's proven that the officer that assaulted me over Natalie's death, trying to help frame me for her death, even after that officer was found to have assaulted 6 other people in the very same year. And then Clearview, where I was sent for trying to turn him in, where I was drugged, they killed a man doing what they did to me. They were already in trouble for doing those things to people. But I got treated like I was schizophrenic. That's what mentally ill means to you people. And now there's a lot of people who are dead. Asking someone to put a stop to the violence that you're enduring is always okay. She types just not okay in any way. She was an adult. I was taking responsibility for grown adults when I was 4 years old. She can take responsibility as an adult when she is an adult. When she is 18 years old and 19 years old, she is a grown adult. She can make the decision of who she is friends with and who she is not. And everything shows that we were friends. And when I left Virginia, I was done with them. If it wasn't for the threats, harassment, intimidation, and assaults against me, this would have all ended in Virginia. If they had decided not to slander my name and to come clean with their mother, I might have had a conversation with their mother all the way in Virginia in 2016 while I was there. There's a picture that I drew for Natalie's mother. Natalie asked me to draw a picture for her, so I did. She wanted me to draw a picture of her for her. I drew a picture of her for her mother as a thank you. And then later on, people are like, oh, well, see, this picture is proof that he's stalking her after blah, 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 blah. No, not even close. But you don't want to look at the evidence. It's not like I haven't posted it 100 times. And I get these people who are like, why do you keep repeating yourself? Why do you keep repeating yourself? And then I get these other people who are like, hey, man, why don't you just tell us what happened? For 6 years, I've been trying to explain what's been happening. 6 years. Those of you who are new to it because you just watched the web sleuth thing that is full of shit, that's not my fault. Anyway, I typed to this lady. I wasn't harassing a 13-year-old. We didn't become friends until she was 18. Knowing what somebody looks like because they hang out with homeless drug addicts ain't the same as being friends or harassing. Look at the evidence instead of believing everything you were told on some web junk site. Her and her druggy friends stalked, threatened, harassed, assaulted, and intimidated me repeatedly before she was killed. Over a year of documented abuse for over a year before she was killed. Don't try playing like you're a god and know everything about a situation you weren't there for just because you listened to slander. It's not my fault you leap before you look. What harassment did I supposedly send her? Where was I supposedly stalking her? I have the proof that your ignorant and not fact-based opinion shows you aren't intelligent enough to vote, let alone play armchair detective or morality police. Get in line behind the rest of those who don't utilize their brains before wasting time witch hunting. People didn't even know there was questions they were asking. Their accusations. Their accusations. Their accusations are false. Obviously, they're asking a question there because they're pulling at fucking straws. I did a lot of things I shouldn't have had to do because I didn't have the support that I needed. You know what happened when nobody did anything about Waylon Lolatai assaulting me? He assaulted 6 more people. You know what happened when nobody did anything about those officers who helped to assault me in the Boulder County Jail? They killed Demetria Shankling. What happened to Clearview, who I tried to tell on, but nobody would listen? Well, they killed Tiber Hatay. Come on, people. You pretend like I'm crazy. Don't be stupid. Look at the evidence. None of these sites want to look at the evidence. They only look at the parts where I'm screaming. And you go, well, you know, Sean, if you didn't scream, you know what? If I didn't scream, I wouldn't get heard. If I didn't scream, I wouldn't get heard. At least while people are going, oh my God, this dude is screaming, he's scary and he's crazy. Imagine what it's like for me having to deal with that in real life. Holy shit. Alright. Well, I usually try to make these videos live. That allows people to be at least slightly interactive. The problem is the connection here sucks. So this is the way I have to do it for now. With Natalie Bollinger, I suppose we could go all the way back to Natalie Bollinger. Let's click on it here. Her final public post. We'll type see more. They had made multiple accounts, fake accounts, to harass me and to threaten me for well over a year. When I made this, Michelle Brannick account. It was to beg for help putting a stop to it. Now let's go through this and then we'll go to where the evidence is. It says, "Hey y'all, I have a public announcement. There is a man, Sean Schwartz. I met this man when I was young. I ran into him about 2 years ago. She met me when she was about 13. Oh, God. She was selling drugs for her dad. Anybody who sends me their email address, I'll forward it literally from her email address. Anyway, it says, I ran into him about 2 years ago. She did. Her and her sister were walking down Pearl Street. I hadn't seen them in years, didn't know how old they were. Turns out they were only 17, but they gave me a piece of paper, wrote their names on it, and told me to hit them up on Facebook. So I sent them each a message, and then I forgot about them. I mean, if you're not 18, you're 12, I don't need to know your name. You don't need to be around me. You're not an adult. So at that point in time, it'd been years since I saw them. I assumed that because they were walking with a couple of much older gentlemen, at least mid to late 20s. I want to say 30s, but, I want to give them benefit of the doubt that they weren't walking down the street with a couple of pedophiles. However, with their history and what I knew about them by that point, with Emery and Arturo, yeah, the chances of them being into pedophiles is pretty good. So they gave me their numbers. I sent them each a message, and of course, I assumed that they were 18 at this point. I didn't ask for ID or nothing. It was just them walking by, saying hello, and, being excited. One of them gave me a hug. I don't know if it was Natalie or Alicia. But after that, I forgot about them. Then one day, Natalie hit me up. It was about 8 months later, I suppose. She was 18, and she was excited to see me, and typed this big old thing about having a dream about me, and me turned into a guitar case because I was afraid to be with her. Like, no, I'm not afraid to be seen with you. You're a human being too, and you're an adult, so I mean, come on now. No, I'm not afraid of hanging out with an adult. Obviously, people played the hell out of this little kid shit. Oh, he's a pedophile. She's just a little girl. She was short in stature, but she was a grown adult. Anyway, she also typed, long story short, I became friends with him. See, by her own admission, we were friends. Our text messages show that we were friends up until my birthday. Well, even a few days after that. It was when I got stuck in the middle of the road with a busted vehicle that had a history of breaking down in exactly that same way. And I had a busted phone, and I'm seriously dehydrated. Like, we'll get to that part. Anyway, she typed, I help him out with rides and stuff. She did. She absolutely did. She was trying to get me jobs, too. She wanted me to work saving the bees with her. And, everything was stuff that she wanted me to do with her. It was all Sean and me stuff. Just, we'll continue with this anyway. She typed, I moved to Virginia, and you get to see in the messages between her and I that she says if she moves to Virginia that she's going to need me to come visit her. Later on, she called me because I wasn't there fast enough. Me and Maddie Boa had already planned the trip, and Maddie was not able to go. Alicia and Natalie were both involved in the trip to Virginia. She wasn't willing to get on the plane unless I was willing to go. Anyway, it says he drove across country to see me. That's right. She said that if I wasn't already on the road, she was going to kill herself, and then she ran her vehicle into a fucking tree. Anyway, he also typed, slept behind my work for weeks. I absolutely didn't. Her sister Alicia worked at the cricket store. It was her sister Alicia's idea for me to stay back there. Natalie lost her job because she had gotten into that accident, trying to kill herself. So, yes, I slept behind where her sister worked for a couple of weeks at their request. See, they leave that part out. Makes me sound like some sort of creeper who drove across the country and was trying to touch some little underage child. No, she was an adult and she pressured me to go with the threat of suicide and an actual suicide attempt. Yes, I went. And as far as sleeping behind her work, you know what? Alicia said, hey, you should, because I was at another Starbucks. She said, you should come and stay behind where I work at the Cricket store. It'll be fine. We'll be able to see you every day. My boyfriend works at the Starbucks. It's just two doors down in the same building. I'm like, all right, all right. And I did. I did that because that's what I was requested to do. It also said when I told him I didn't want to see him anymore, he sent me hundreds of texts and calls. No, absolutely not. She didn't tell me she didn't want to see me anymore. She had it set up so that she would come visit me, and we were going to visit on Monday. But I didn't make it to Monday. I was having a medical emergency. I was severely dehydrated. I was having a meltdown. I was broke. I was stranded. I was still staying behind the Cricket store. Alicia had quit her job only 10 minutes after transferring that phone that started all of this over into her name. Like, literally, she screwed me completely by giving me that gift. When Natalie saw the phone on my birthday, when she saw the phone that Alicia had given me, her eyeballs got this big. Anyway, it says, when I told him I didn't want to see him anymore, he sent me hundreds of texts and calls. That's not true. It also says he parked his car, and you see how she's changing a bunch of stuff on the timeline for when stuff happened. Meanwhile, all the stuff she's talking about, it's all in Virginia. None of it was in Colorado. I didn't even know she was in Colorado. It says he parked his car in front of my house, blocking military highway for hours. It wasn't for hours, it was for 15 minutes max. Maximum. My car was busted down in the road. I followed MapQuest because the roads there sucked. I went to her house to try to explain what was going on, and my car got stuck in the road. I hadn't slept for days, and no, I wasn't on drugs. Everybody wants to jump to that conclusion. Oh, you must have been on drugs. We've got drug dealers who admit to being drug dealers recorded on my channel, also admitting that I don't do drugs. Anyway, it says blocking military highway for hours, laying on his horn. Yes, I didn't want somebody to come around the corner and slam into me. Come on now. This is a no-brainer. If you're stuck in a situation like that, yes, that's what the horn is for. That's why the horn is on your vehicle. If you're stuck in a mess like that, honk your horn. It's not just your life at stake at that point. It's a family of 6 in a station wagon coming around the corner. If they don't know you're there and it's a highway, they're going faster than 25 miles an hour, you're going to get killed and they're going to get killed too. Not smart. It also says he was arrested. No, I wasn't. I was taken to the hospital. I was diagnosed with diabetes, which is wrong. And an anxiety state. And of course, my hospital paperwork is on this YouTube channel. I've shown it time and again. It shows that I was given a bolo infusion something or other. It's saline water. It's salt water. It's for when you're dehydrated. And they gave me 2 of them. The lady who was a nurse who was telling me about it, she's like, with as long as you were there that they claim that you were hooked up to the IV, they put at least 3 bags in you. At least 2.5, I think is what she said. Anyway, it says, laying on his horn, he was arrested. Since then, I've asked him to leave me alone. You know what? She did ask me to leave her alone, and I asked her to call off the dogs. Fair deal. I also went to the cops, and I went to my friends to try to get help stopping the abuse, while she's busy telling them that I'm mentally ill. Holy shit. And we'll get to this part anyway. It says, Since then, I've asked him to leave me alone, and I asked her friends to leave me alone, too. You can see that in the messages between me and Tim Beeson. You can see that in the messages between me and that fake Riley Johnson profile. And that other church lady fake profile from some church lady in Virginia. This is creepy shit. It was not cool. Anyway, so like from this point, she hadn't told me anything about not talking to her, not coming and seeing her, or anything like that. It was, I mean, literally, I delivered a wheelchair to her just a couple of days before. She was spending time with her family. She was also getting drunk. I mean, it's a tough situation. It wasn't something that I chose. Meanwhile, this whole time, I'm behind where Alicia Bollinger used to work. I'm severely dehydrated. I got no friends to talk to, and I got Candace Bonder on, being a severe pain in the butt to me, treating me completely like crap over things that were not my decisions. Anyway, it was a situation with a little punk ass named Jeremiah Jensen, and it didn't need to be what it became. Anyway, it says, since then I've asked him to leave me alone, and he won't. I actually did. I did leave her alone. I blocked her when I left Virginia. I blocked her and her sister. And when Maddie Boa got a hold of me and treated me like shit, I blocked her too. I unblocked them because people were threatening, harassing, and assaulting me. The only reason, and you can see that in all of the messages, the only reason that I ever contacted her after leaving Virginia was because of threats, harassment, and assaults over slander. These things were coming to me in the form of physical violence and threats against myself and my loved ones over her slander. Cops would do nothing. My friends would do nothing. They wanted to blow me off. Well, you know what? That is not okay. These people are committing felonies against me. Someone needs to do something. I jumped through the hoops with disability that I was told if I jump through these hoops, they'll do something. But no, by that point, these cops had already committed enough felonies that they're never going to do their jobs. All because of this slander here that Natalie typed. Did I make that profile? You damn right I did. I never pretended that I didn't. It also says, and he won't. He's sent emails for over a year, close to every day, harassing me. That's an outright lie, too. 6 days. 6 days total. All 6 of those days were either right after I had been assaulted for trying to see my loved ones, or I was trying to see my loved ones and I didn't want to be assaulted again. That was a grand total of all 6 of those days. And you can go back and look through the messages between me and Missy Bruce. You can see that I tried to get a hold of people before doing anything desperate. Before I tried to get a hold of Natalie for another attempt at getting this shit to stop, I'd already reached out to people who I knew personally who were supposed to be professionals, but they were drunk. And instead of helping, what did Missy do? She treated me like shit because she was drinking. And then she's like, oh, well, it was just one Mike's Hard Lemonade. It was just one wine cooler. It was just one this. It was just one. It doesn't matter if it was just one, if just one is enough to get you drunk. And a lot of people have said that. They got completely blitzed in front of me and then wanted to say, I only had one drink. Christopher Tapp did that. Anyway, she said, close to every day. And I've also sent out the emails. People who send me their email address, I forward the emails, not just the ones that she sent, but also the ones that I sent. I was trying to get help stopping the abuse. I was being ignored because I'm a male. I was being ignored because I'm not pretty. I was being ignored because I'm homeless. And I was being ignored because I'm broke. I'm not a human being to you. When I asked for help, everybody dipped for the hills. I literally started screaming for help because nobody was listening. I was going through this abuse and people wouldn't stop long enough to listen. They wouldn't stop text messaging me ignorant bullshit like you just gotta love yourself. She typed, threatening my family, telling me he'll kill himself in front of me, and sending my friends and family harassing messages as well. Absolutely not. It says threatening her family. I didn't threaten her family. I did what I said I would. I exposed Ted for what he did with her email. Her email. And we'll get down to why that part's important. It says sending my friends and family harassing messages as well. No, I was sending them help. The message that I sent and posted up on Ted's timeline. Who is it that molested Natalie, and who is it that was being treated like he was a child molester? Who is it that beat on Natalie? Was it me or Ted? Who is it that raped Natalie? Me or Ted? Who is it that molested Natalie? Me or Ted? Who was it that gave her drugs? Me or Ted? Who was it that had her selling drugs? Me or Ted? Ted Bollinger, her own dad, did all of those things. But you want to point fingers at me. Threatening her family? Only Ted. I threatened to expose him, and I did. I absolutely did. When this got out of hand, it got out of hand because people weren't listening. It's not because I wasn't trying to get help, which is what lots of people want to claim. Oh, you didn't try hard enough. No, if I tried harder than I was, people threw me away. Oh, Sean, you're being a jerk. No, this is an emergency situation. I can't see my loved ones. I can't see my support network. I can't get the help that I need without being threatened, harassed, or assaulted. Yes, I need help. It also says, telling me he'll kill himself in front of me. No, I didn't. I said I wanted to. I didn't say I was gonna. And I still wish that I could. I think all of these people should have to watch that. Matter of fact, I believe in assisted termination of life. In a situation like this, Alicia Bollinger could have cleared the air a long time ago just simply by telling the truth. And since she didn't tell the truth, a lot of people did evil stuff. I think she should have to pull the trigger. I think it should be on national TV, and I think everybody in America should have to watch. If you're going to destroy a man's life like that, just put him out of your misery. She also typed in sending my friends and family harassing messages as well. Our friends, and I was trying to get help. They weren't harassing messages, they were me begging for help. Same thing with her mom. I sent her mom one message before I exposed her dad. That harassing message, no, that was a post on Ted Bollinger's timeline where I copied and pasted Natalie's every word in that message that she had sent me back in 2016. I didn't know how to take screenshots, so that's the way that I had to do it. We're getting to that part now, though. It says, I'm sharing this because he's posting slander about me all over Facebook. What slander? The heroin? Or the message sent or posted on her dad's timeline? Which one of those two is slander? Which of those two is slander? Because, see, the heroin addiction, the autopsy report proves that that's true. And the message from her also proves that that's from her. That's, if it's slander, it's her slander. It says, I'm sharing this because he's posting slander about me all over Facebook. No, claiming that somebody stalked you, when you pressure them under threat of suicide to come see you, and then you claim that they stalked you, is creepy. When somebody drives 1,700 miles because you did something that creepy, and you ask them to drive that 1,700 miles so you wouldn't kill yourself, and they do. When you invite them to stay, or when your sister invites them to stay behind where she works, that's not staying behind your work. And she left out that these are things that she invited me or asked me or pressured me to do. And that includes the telephone. I didn't want that new friggin' fangled crap. I was fine with my flip phone. The stuff that she said was slander. The stuff that her sister said was slander. They claimed that I threatened them and their family in Virginia. Hell no. I didn't even threaten to expose Ted until what, October, November of 2017? Almost a full year, over a full year after all of this started. I tried to get help. I went to the people you're supposed to. I went to the lady who was in charge of Sandhills Crisis Intervention Program. That's Brenda Dickinson. I went to the lady from Region 2. That was Missy Bruce. All right. I went to Tamara of Region 1. I went to Nicole Peralta of Region 1. I went to the police in Colorado. I went to the police in Nebraska. I went everywhere I was supposed to go. She also typed, "So if you receive a message, I am sincerely sorry. Please ignore him. It only encourages him when he gets a response, much like a child. He's mentally ill and I'm trying to fix this." No, she wasn't trying to fix it. She was trying to frame me for her fucking death. She already had a plan by this point. And yes, it's the Michelle Brannick profile that I made here. And I didn't hide who I was. You can see my face on it, clear as day. It's not like I was hiding it. And at the bottom it says September 22nd. That would have been September 22nd of 2018. I typed, "I made this account so I could get rid of my real Facebook permanently. It didn't work. I hate Facebook." I was trying to destroy my Facebook before committing suicide. I didn't want anybody going after Natalie and Alicia when I killed myself. But she went out of her way to make sure that when she stole my suicide, that's right, I already posted up proof that I even begged Maddie Boa to kill me. That's right. Back in, I believe, January of 2017. I was begging them to kill me for a reason. You don't tell rumors like that. You don't tell lies like that. And I get that Natalie and Alicia aren't the ones that claimed that I raped or molested anybody. That was Maddie Boa. But it was not true, and Natalie and Alicia should have at least been human enough to admit that, to come forward about that, and to ask these people to stop. The police should have done something. I jumped through all of those disability hoops so that I could get help stopping the abuse against me, and instead it's used as an excuse to ignore the abuse and pretend I'm too crazy to know what abuse really is. It's not okay. All these people pretending like I was hanging out with some little kid. No, we didn't hang out until she was 18 years of age. She was a grown-ass adult before we became friends. But you guys don't want to hear that. You don't want to read that. You want to just pretend, don't you? You want to cherry pick the little bits and pieces that make you feel better about passing judgment on me. See, that's something that my supposed friends aren't understanding because they never bothered to look like a lot of you guys do. You guys are more interested than any of my so-called friends are. A lot of them don't even know these Natalie Bollinger sites exist. They just simply care that little. Those aren't friends, are they? And you say, hey, you need to get new friends. You know what? When you're different, when you're autistic, the only people that really accept you, if you're lucky, your family, and maybe some druggies. The reason for that is because druggies are used to being cast out by society anyway. And besides that, if you got Tourette syndrome or you're autistic and you stim, you kind of have mannerisms that some drug addicts might have too. Or some serial killers, according to Hollywood. Every serial killer and every mad scientist has got some sort of nervous tic like somebody with Tourette's. It's crazy. And then you guys got your ignorance of what Tourette's is as well. You've got your ignorance of what autism is. And then, of course, you guys want to treat me like I'm a low functioning autistic person who needs to wear diapers and can't speak English and so on and so forth. And obviously, that's not the case. These people were allowed to harm me until I got overwhelmed. And when I screamed for help because people were abusing me, I got abused for screaming for help and treated like I was crazy for screaming for help. Well, how did I get treated when I asked for it? Fuck this country. Now, of course, there's a whole bunch of them here. It's bullshit. This lady named Crystal Peck, she was one of my harassers as well. I am fairly certain. This is another one of her accounts. One of her other ones got deleted. Don't know why, don't care. But the fact is that these things did exist, and when I tried to tell people about it, they didn't care. They wanted to look away. Say, oh, well, you know, I've got the same access as everybody else does. That's what Chelsea said. No, they don't. And nobody else cares enough to try sharing it either, Chelsea. Everybody else makes excuses just like you do, Chelsea. Your excuses are not my choice, they are my problem. Looks like there's a bunch of stuff up. I keep speaking up, I keep posting up evidence. This here shows that what they tried saying in court is untrue, but they wouldn't look at evidence, they wanted to listen to slander. There's hundreds and hundreds of videos here. Actual evidence, while people want to continue trying to victimize me for telling the truth. It's time to end this video, there's a lot more to go through.